Okay, for homework, what we have to do is, in order to start generating ideas for this project, what I have you do is write a story. A lot of times we find writing is a little bit more familiar to us because we've been doing it for a little bit longer in school. And so what I have you guys do is write a story that then you will visually translate into sketches that will eventually become your digital composition, your Illustrator project. So this short story should be fantasy meal themed. Think of the story as a movie. You want to keep it short, but you want to be very, very, very descriptive. You want to think about scale, proportion, color, taste, and describe the environment. When you discuss the characters, you want to really think about descriptive features such as hair color, eye color, that type of thing. I'm going to show you an example of a story so that you get a sense for how it might be written and then what that looks like in terms of seeing the final product, okay? I just clicked on the website on the side link and you'll notice it says here's a sample story. So when you're in your assignment, when you're in week 1, you can just click on sample story to access your homework documents that you need, okay? I'm going to read the story out. I'm not going to caption all of this because you can go ahead and read the sample story. I'll start captioning again when I'm giving more instruction. Sample story, Project 1 Fantasy Meal. There once was an adventurous girl named Keiko who went into a dark forest. The sky turned dark, drip drop. It had begun to rain, so without hesitation she ran and ran. She had come across a cave and quickly ran into the cave. Inside the cave she saw a beam of light as if there was an exit. She walked slowly to get a closer look. It was a pool of water that shined as bright as day. From the light of the pool she could see how small the cave was, which with this light she felt more at ease. Curious as to why it shined so bright, she took a look into the water. There she saw something she had never imagined. It was a fish made up of food. Shocked, she backed away in disbelief and slowly crept back up to see it once again. She had noticed the fish scales were made up of oranges, limes, and strawberries. She had noticed it was all the foods she has eaten recently, and her favorite food was fish. Wanting to feel the water, she reached her hand over the water. As she dipped her fingers into the water, she noticed the lights slowly fading. Keiko pulled her fingers quickly out of the water. The cave began to darken as she wondered what had happened. She waited patiently for the lights to come back, always looking back into the water, but nothing happened. Eventually, she went back outside of the cave, disappointed. Keiko walked out into the pouring rain, back to her home, never seeing her food reflection again. Okay, as you notice, the picture depicts the environment as a cave, and she is leaning over and she sees this food. The scales are made out of the different food elements that she described. It is kind of that darker, dim lit with a little bit of a ray of light shining through. So, as you notice, the story starts depicting this scene and describing everything that she's seeing. You get a sense of the environment even before you see the imagery. So your story should be something that describes the environment, describes the people, has a storyline like a beginning, middle, and end, what it is that kind of happened in the story. And then the picture, if you think of it, you can think of it like a movie poster where it only captures one scene from that story to depict as your movie poster, so to speak. Okay, another part of your homework is doing object sketches. What you're going to be doing is taking the fantasy meal that you have written and using the object sketches template, which you can find here on the website. You're going to take this template and print it. You can print it at home if you have a home printer. You can print it at school in the labs, the New Media Arts computer labs, or in the library, wherever you have access to a printer. You can print out this template. It has 6 boxes, and what you're going to do is you're going to print and then you're going to draw directly on the sheet of paper, and you're going to draw using the contour style of drawing. Okay, to show you what contour is, in case you're not familiar, it's kind of the outline of an object, but not just the outer outline, also some of the defining characteristics within, just to give to be able to show enough form to give a sense of what the object is. So for instance, this is the contour of an apple. You'll notice that there's some little dips in here, and you can tell where the stem is and the leaf. And it's basically the most basic fundamental outline of the apple and its parts to show that it's an apple. And here we'll look at a piece of broccoli. You'll notice that it's not going in and doing all of the shading, but it is defining the different areas. There's a broccoli stalk on its side, actually. And then some of those places where you might have a bit of differentiation in color and where the stems might show off. And then we have a vehicle here, and you'll notice again, you know, some of the major parts, like where the hood is and where the bumper is and the tires and the doors, that type of thing that's going on here. Okay, so this is contour style. Please avoid doing all the shading. It's just extra unnecessary work. And Illustrator doesn't function maybe the way that you think it functions, like the way you would shade on paper. It's very different, and what you end up needing is solid shapes that you end up filling with color. Even when you're shading, it's going to be a solid shape. And so we need to define where the outline shape of that is. Okay, so again, you're going to, given your storyline, you're going to pick 6 objects from that story, whether you had an apple in there, or a celery stalk, or a car, or a building in the background. You may have more than 6 objects, and you may choose to do more than one of these templates, but you're only required to do one of these templates for homework. So you would be drawing one of these objects in one of these boxes. And then when you are finished, what you are going to need to do is you're going to have to find a way to digitize it. You can either scan it, you can take a photo with your telephone or with your camera and then load it onto Laulima. That may require you to email it to yourself first. And for example, if you take it from your phone, you may need to send it either to your computer, or you're going to need to email it to yourself so that you can then pick it up off your computer and load it into Laulima in the appropriate assignment. Please do not email it to me. I won't be checking the email for assignments that are turned in. It needs to go into Laulima because it's too many people to try to keep track of if it's not turned into the appropriate assignment. Okay, so keep that in mind. Make sure that you upload it into the appropriate assignment so that you can get feedback on it as necessary. And also, of course, don't forget to turn in your story, which is the other part of the homework, also in Laulima. Now, the last part of your homework is to update your avatar picture. So there's instructions here. You can go ahead and take a look at those. Those have screenshots. I'm going to go through the process now. You log into Laulima, go into the Art 112 tab, go into Discussions and Private Messages, select My Profile. In here, you can fill out whatever information you want. You can also select different preferences here for how you get email notifications. Okay, so I like to put this one as yes, send email notifications. And then you go into load the avatar, and then you go ahead and you choose file for the picture you want to use. Select it, hit choose, and then you'll see the name appear here. Go ahead and hit submit. It'll let you know that your information has been updated. You scroll down, you'll see it appear here. To test if it worked, go into discussions again. You can either go to discussions home, or you can click on one of these pages like home here and then come back into discussions. And to test whether or not this is actually working, what you need to do is go into, say, student intros, post your pic and say hello. So we've already posted the pic. You go in here and you hit new topic. Type in a message. Remember to click notify when reply is posted. That way if anybody responds, it'll automatically email you. Hit submit, and you'll notice that your post is here. You can see my picture here. This is the way that you test. If it shows up here, it means that your avatar picture has been posted correctly. All right, this concludes your lesson for homework. Please let me know if you have any questions.